Welcome to 10 TV Plus. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud. Well, talk about waking up to a winter wonderland today. I don't know about you, but it was kind of nice to wake up to a little bit of snowfall. Now we're seeing some leftover flurries going on at about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Today's just one of those days where it's going to be cold, dreary, brisk out there, dress warm, because behind this system comes some extreme cold as we head into tonight. Let's walk you through the hour by hour. By 5 o'clock, with each passing hour, our chances of snow will be diminishing as that system moves right along. So here's a look at 5 o'clock. You'll notice that we start kind of improving things. And then as we head towards Saturday, we actually start to kind of clear things up. So we haven't had a whole lot of sunshine lately. We will get some as we head into the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, let's take a look here at Saturday. We're looking at a beautiful dry day. Cold though. When you wake up tomorrow morning, 18 degrees for the morning low, 25 by the afternoon. Sunday, we're going to be looking at some snow moving in later on in the afternoon into the evening hours. The timing, though, has been pushed up as that system is moving a little bit quicker than what we initially thought. So we will be looking at some snow by that point in time. We have seen some major shifts within the storm, though. All right, it has shifted further to the north. What does that mean? Areas that were going to get snow now have a risk of getting some sleet and freezing rain. So be prepared for that heading into the start of Monday. Now, winter weather alerts. The blue counties right here, that is a winter storm watch. That is for Sunday night going into Monday. So that is a winter storm watch that we have issued here going into the start of next week. All these other counties, you're not out of the woods yet. Either winter weather advisories will be issued or winter storm warnings will be issued as we get some more data. Here's your storm, though, way off to the west here, okay? Strong upper level low. To the north of the low, we've got cold air. We're definitely not lacking the cold air, but with that counterclockwise spin, you're pulling in moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. This is what I'm concerned about right here, though. Look at that right there, the pink on the map. What is that? That is ice. That is sleet. That is freezing rain, okay? I'm worried that the track of the storm will be pushing far enough to the north that we could be looking at some of that ice moving into southern Ohio. This is 6 o'clock here on Sunday. There's that snow line right there around dinner time on Sunday moving on in. This, though, is what I'm paying close attention to, because snow is one thing. Ice is a whole other animal, okay? You don't want to be getting ice, and I'm afraid that we could be looking at some ice moving on in. Nonetheless, 7 a.m. here on Monday, this is why I think we're going to be looking at several closings and delays. Look at this right here. From Pittsburgh down to Columbus, Dayton, Fort Wayne, Toledo, all looking at some heavy snowfall. And then look at that right there. The question is, how far will that freezing rain line go? I know for a fact we're talking about a winter storm. The question is, how far north does that warm air go to the point that we could be looking at the risk of a little bit of freezing rain moving into the metro area? That's what I'm concerned about here. So we'll keep you posted on that. Nonetheless, areas that do switch over to freezing rain, they go back to snow by Monday afternoon, because on the backside of the system, we've got some cold air coming in from the west. And that cold air is going to flip everything back to snow. Look at that snow here by Monday afternoon. And then it's not going to be until late in the day Monday that we push that beast out of here and things start to improve once again. So tracking a lot of changes with that. Let's go ahead right now and take a look at the areas in blue, okay? If you live in the blue, which most of you do, we're looking at this being an entire snow event, a plowable snow of that. Down to the south where we have that pinkish, purple shaded color, that right there would be freezing rain. That doesn't mean they're not going to be looking at several inches of snow. What it means is that you might flip over to some freezing rain and then flip back to snow. So we still need the snow blowers and the plow trucks out here down to the south, but more so than anything, salt and sand trucks will be needed as we're going to be looking at some freezing rain moving into the area. Here are my thoughts right now, though. We're going to be looking at some snowfall, plowable snow south of I-70, okay? We know that for a fact. The further north and east that you go, it becomes increasingly unlikely that we're going to be looking at a plowable snow heading into Sunday night and heading into the day on Monday. Then areas right here in that blue, we're looking at it being possible here. So a lot can change, a lot will change, but I just want you to be overly prepared as we're going to be looking at the system moving into the area. Now, what are the chances of getting 4 inches of snow or more? All right. So as we head southwest of Columbus, all right, there's that line right there. So we head southwest of Columbus. I'm thinking 90% chance, okay? But then as you head northeast of Columbus, that includes Coshocton, that includes Cambridge, that includes Delaware, that includes Marion. We're looking at about a 40% chance of 4 inches of snowfall. And then as we head way up towards the north, Bucyrus, Mansfield, we're looking at about a 30% chance of that plowable snow of 4 inches or more heading into Sunday night and going into the start of Monday. All right, so we're going to be looking at that. Let's go ahead and take a look at something slightly different. Specifically for the city of Columbus here, I'm very confident we're going to see at least an inch. I'm confident we get 2 and 3 inches, but 4 inches is kind of where the cutoff is. You know, do we get more than 4 inches? Do we get less? That's all going to depend on the track, because if that freezing rain line pushes further to the north, you know what that's going to do? Cut back on those snowfall totals. That's my concern here heading into the start of Monday. All right. So a few different things to keep in mind. If you're north of Columbus, these totals are a little bit lower. If you're south and west, they'll be a little bit higher, as it will favor more snow out towards that part of the state. As we get to this time of the year, though, what's interesting is that, you know, what kind of snowfall will we be looking at? Is it going to be a wet snow? Is it going to be a compact snow? Can I make a snowball? Can I make a snowman? I think that the snow that we have coming in will actually be a wet enough snow that you can make a snowman with it. Take a look at this, though. The type of snowflake that you get is normally dictated by the outside temperature. If the outside temperature is 25 to 32, you're going to be looking at these thin platelet-like shapes. On the contrary, let's go ahead and drop it down a few degrees. If it's a little bit colder, 21 to 25 degrees, then we're looking at these needle-like shapes. And then as we go even colder, 14 degrees to 21 degrees, now we're looking at those hollow column-like shapes, okay? So this is where it gets pretty interesting. Now, the classic snowflake, you know, think about the Grinch that stole Christmas, okay? That classic snowflake would be like the stellar plates or the dendrites, okay? How cold does it have to get for that? Once it gets down to 10 degrees to 14 degrees, that's where we start getting into these classic snowflake types. And of course, the dendrites, the ones that are the most beautiful, 3 degrees above 0 to 10 degrees above 0, that's where you typically get those. But keep in mind, the air aloft also has a lot to do with it as well. So now, as we go ahead and take a look at the future, the big story, once we get rid of the storm, the cold air, take a look at this, up to the north. Look at this cold air pushing down to the south as it leaks into the area. It's going to get downright chilly late this week and going into the end of next week here. This weekend, we get cold air, but it gets really cold. We're talking single digits. We're talking wind chills below 0 by the end of next week as that cold air comes in from Canada. Now, the next 8 to 14 days, confidence is pretty high that we're going to be looking at well below average temperatures here across the Carolinas and below average precipitation for parts of the Midwest and down to the south as well. And then abnormally dry conditions up there towards New England. You head west of the Mississippi, that's where they're going to be looking at their fair share of rainfall. Temperatures here at home, though, 7 of the next 7 days, we'll be looking at temps below average. By tomorrow, we're about 12 degrees below average, but it's late next week that we really start getting colder here. Wednesday and Thursday, we're looking at temperatures here around negative 15, or around 15 degrees below average, I should say. And as we look out towards the next 10 days, again, here's the date. January 13th is all the way out there, so that's about 10 days out. This yellow curve represents the temperature. We hit the coldest weather late next week. Gradually, we bump it up a little bit towards next weekend. But we stay cold for the next 10 days. So that's kind of the bottom line that I'm trying to get at here. All right, 10 weather impact day issued here on Monday. We've got the snow, we've got the cold moving on in. Heading into Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to be looking at the cold continuing. And then look at these numbers right here. By Wednesday, 12 degrees here in the morning, and then 8 degrees in the morning here on Thursday. So very, very cold out there. Make sure to dress warm and make sure to stay inside if you can, because there will be some icy spots out there on the roadways as we look at this weekend, though, Sunday night going into Monday, that would be the biggest concern for that rain, snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Right now, we're thinking snow in the metro area, but it's all about how far north that freezing rain line goes. So we'll keep you posted on that. That does it for me on 10 TV Plus. Jerry Martz will have your forecast tonight at 4, 5, and 6 o'clock on 10 TV News.